Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, let's drink a bourbon. All right, Ben, pick a bourbon, any bourbon. Name a bourbon.
Well, I have one that I've picked.
Okay.
Which, of course, you can't see.
I can't see.
No idea what it is.
No idea.
But I'm excited about this one because it's a new one.
It is.
Bam! Got Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So this is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch A-1
That's 2021 year.
Yes.
January or whenever it was.
Well, 19. You really went back for that. Like,
when I think
there's
centuries,
being wrong, and then there's being as wrong as you just were.
21 years is a rounding error.
Yeah, exactly.
Let it go there.
So Elijah Craig releases 3 of these every year. Different batches.
The 18, the 19, and the 20.
Yeah, and now the 21.
See, I was mostly
3
right.
of those in every single year. I don't actually know what year this started. But this one is batch A121, so the A just means first batch. They got A, B, and C. And then the 121...
Easy for those who can't spell.
Right. And then the 121 just means January 2021. So this one comes in at 123.6 proof, which is relatively low.
Compared to some of their others.
Yeah, some of their other ones, they get up into the 130s, upper 120s, 130s.
They're slacking. Or they're trying to produce more juice.
Could be. Or I think it just comes out the way it comes out, and, however it happens, and that's what they push out. So, So this one is 12 years old, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of Elijah Craig in general, Heaven Hill in general, and so getting a high-proof 12-year-old bourbon is, can you go wrong?
Approximate price?
This one was $70, and I think that's about normal. At least in Minnesota it is. But yeah, I think the MSRP is like $65, $70.
Okay.
So yeah. I know you have one of these that's considerably higher in proof.
Yeah, so I must have like the previous model years, which is 1842, I think, is the year.
Right, you just all over the map with years.
Just stick with it.
You'd be a great witness in court. It's like, when was it? I don't know, 1856?
Yeah, that's right. On a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was wearing a blue shirt.
Boy, that's I'm really into the higher proof stuff lately.
There's definitely an alcohol burn on the nose. It's like a burning sugar kind of note. Like maybe a sugar factory's on fire.
That could be it. That's a new bourbon tasting note. It tastes like a burning sugar factory.
Yeah, I don't know. Do bourbon
tastes like people running for their lives?
And there's a forklift driving backwards beeping.
Yeah. I'm going to bring that up in future videos. Like, the nose on this has got a really, like, a forklift driving backwards beeping.
The only reason why I say that is because one of my neighbors drives the vehicle with a backup buzzer. And every day at 2:58, he gets home. And he backs into his driveway. And I know, like clockwork, at what time it is.
What an asshole. With that backup beeper going off every day.
That's right. But it is better than in the winter when he backed out of his garage at 6:28 in the morning every day.
Yeah, even bigger asshole for that. All right, I'm going in for the palate on this. On the nose, though, it's got it's a little different than I was expecting. It doesn't have the same rich vanilla Elijah Craig note that I usually get.
Like a really interesting toffee note.
Well, yeah, a little bit. A lot of barrel, of course. It's 12 years.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's give her a shot.
At this point, I have really high expectations of this bourbon. Like 12-year high proof. If it's not amazing, like, I don't know what would happen. Like, I don't really have an end to this sentence, but
even,
I would be disappointed.
Even with these releases, they from what I can kind of tell, and I haven't had much of them, they really do vary. I mean, sometimes, proof isn't all of it.
Newsflash, not disappointed.
Right. I am not disappointed. I don't know if I would go amazed. But it's good.
I think it's really good. It has a weird kind of like heaviness to it. And so that doesn't allow the individual flavors to like escape and have their moment in the sun.
It's actually a really good way of explaining that. It does. It has it's bold.
But it's not just the alcohol proof. It's like, it's dense, it's impactful, it has a flavor and a real punch to it.
Mm-hmm.
But underlying, you get these little hints at flavor for the spice and the apple and the cinnamon, not so much cinnamon.
Yeah, I'm not getting much cinnamon.
Vanilla notes.
Now I'm starting to get that vanilla a little bit more that I wasn't getting on the nose. Getting a couple sips in, it's definitely rich and heavy is kind of good way to describe it.
So I have in my mind, a really good description, and it sounds really insulting, and I don't mean it to be insulting.
Can't wait for this shit.
Yeah. Hopefully we're not going off a train wreck kind of description here, but cherry cough syrup. Like just the density and a little bit of cherry note from the wood, but not the medicinal negative qualities of cherry cough syrup. But
so it's like that cherry barrel note.
Yeah, I think so.
But with a thickness to it.
But then the density, the viscosity, if you will, and maybe if you won't.
I'm not finding the cherry in that. I'm getting.
Are you looking?
I'm looking. I'm really, really striving for it, but I'm getting a ton of vanilla and oak, which reminds me of one of my other favorite pours on my shelf.
Bourbon?
Yeah, that's a different brand and everything. There are a couple things in here that aren't bourbon.
That's true.
This is really good. I don't have much experience with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because when I got into whiskey a couple of years ago, it's just limited releases and, it's a little more on the expensive side. So just in building a collection, I just didn't really buy a lot of the more expensive stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think when these kind of hit the shelves, they're there for a little bit and they're not impossible to find, but they're not there for very long.
You have to work a little bit to find them, definitely.
Yeah, and when you do find one, you've got a window of time to pick one up.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of...
Getting a really good pepper note. Black pepper.
I can see that.
Yeah. It's kind of a unique burn/spice on the tongue.
There is definitely a spice to it, for sure. And it's like you said before, it's not just alcohol proof. It's a barrel spice, but I think that pepper note is a good way to describe it. Char note.
But one thing that kind of keeps coming around for me is this is not a good starter bourbon. Like if this is the first time you ever had a bourbon.
Well, yeah, I would not recommend anything 123 proof.
Either you're going to hate it because you're going to hate life after drinking it. Or if you love it, you can never drink another bourbon because not everything else tastes like this.
Yeah, there's a reason you get into like the lower proof stuff at first and then work your way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you drink a cask strength one right away and just like, oh yeah, that's absolutely. It's like, all right, well this is going to be this is going to go off the rails.
Disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I know the next release for this year in 2021 is
1872.
Right. Well, according to your math on what century we're living in. But I know the next release is out now, so I haven't really gone looking for it. I mean, I've seen it start popping up on the internet and stuff like that. So I don't know in Minnesota if that's available, and I don't know if these are still available in Minnesota. Like I said, there's a window of time where you can get
the
them.
A model, you mean?
Yeah, the A121. So if you see it, grab it. Not if you're a beginner.
This is an awesome shelf bourbon, and I think maybe sometimes that's used as a negative phrase, but it's really good to have as kind of like a what if you have a really high proof, high flavor, kind of unique bourbon, as opposed to maybe the regular Elijah Craig at 94 proof.
Mm-hmm. Which is good on its own.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one to share with, kind of fellow bourbon enthusiasts. You got a buddy comes over that's really into bourbon and just doesn't happen to have one of these. Yeah. It's a good one to break out for times like that, for sure. Or just if you want a nice, strong evening pour where you don't want to have a couple of them, you just want to have one good one,
Two is better than one, or maybe one's better than two.
Yeah, exactly. 280 proofs for one of these, It's good for that because it's really rich and bold in flavor, and yeah, I really like it. I'm impressed.
The only thing that I would say that would be intriguing is to try this with an ice cube. And I normally don't suggest an ice cube. I like bourbon neat, but I think.
But there's nothing wrong with having some ice if that's what you like.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but I almost feel like this one could stand to lose a couple of degrees.
Really? Do you want to say "and we're back," or do you want me to? What do you want to do?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
And we're back. For those of you watching at home on the internet, this was only a 2-second delay. For us here, we had to stop, charge the camera, and then try to pick up.
We forgot to plug the camera in.
Yeah, so.
But we were just about to wrap this up.
Yeah, Stacy, the camera operator, is one more demerit on her resume.
Fired.
Well, no, not yet. Not yet.
She's fired.
She has her qualities.
So yeah, we were just about to wrap this up because,
in truth,
full disclosure, we film a few of these at a time, and this is the last one of the evening. So
that's optimistic.
Yeah. So we've, it's about time to wrap this up. If you couldn't tell from the rest of this video. So anyway.
So what are we drinking? It's been a while. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof at 123.6.
0.6. So yeah, really good. I would love to be able to go back and explore some of the older releases. I know you've got one of them at your house.
I think they have the previous year at 136.8.
Yeah.
It's a sledgehammer in glass.
I want to try that one for sure. But the problem with these is trying to go back and explore any of the older releases is pretty difficult because they're
hard to find.
They run their course and they go away, and that's what kind of makes them fun too. So. Yeah. All right, well, this has been the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Thanks for watching. Cheers.